Young Thug has finally scored his first #1 album with So Much Fun. But before we got the 19 tracks of whimsical, high-energy bangers, our first taste of So Much Fun was the offbeat cover art featuring an aerial shot of Young Thug's face, made up of hundreds of individual thuggers looking up from a slime green field.
There's exactly 803 copies of Young Thug that I had gone through and, individually placed.
That's Nashville artist and designer Fano, who painstakingly placed each of the 803 thugs and created the So Much Fun cover. Back in 2015, Fano was just a Young Thug fan when he took a chance and reached out on Twitter to Young Thug's creative director and right-hand man, BLB, who most recently directed the video for Surf.
When I was making the Slime Season 2 cover, I'd be like, hey, you guys are a fan of Young Thug, here's your chance to design a cover for him.
So I just tweeted back to him like, yo, check out my stuff.
Fano ended up being the best one out of all of them.
And 30 minutes later, he called me back and was just like, yo, your stuff's dope. You're going to be Thug's official designer now.
Now, Fano is a huge part of the aesthetic for Young Thug's brand, creating designs for Thug's merch, tour posters, and a good majority of his album art.
So he actually did Slime Season 2, 3, I'm Up.
Eventually, Thug was about to go on tour, so they brought me out to do like his stage visuals and all that. So just being able to sit in on like studio sessions and just watch how he actually creates, it's just inspiring and cool to see.
Like with all of Thug's projects, Fano works closely with BLB to represent the music through visuals. Fano hadn't heard any of the music on So Much Fun when he started working on the cover art, but he and BL knew they wanted to stay away from the dark imagery of some of Thug's past projects and create something that screamed fun.
My first initial idea was a bunch of people from all across the world, like on a globe, coming together.
Really, it all was inspired by the Beijing Olympics. I don't know if you ever saw the opening ceremony.
So we thought like a bunch of thugs that make up Thug, that'd be hard.
With the idea in place, BL started working around Thug's busy schedule to squeeze in an impromptu photo shoot at his LA recording studio.
He was actually putting together his track list to So Much Fun. And I was like, hey, I need to take this picture of you real quick. I didn't even tell him why. He was like, all right, this is the picture that I took of him. That's what it really comes from. And then I was like, I need you to come outside and I'm gonna take more pictures of you. I just grabbed the chair, stood on it, and then kind of like lift my arm up with the iPhone and just took it. And then he just looking like, all right, that's it.
After the parking lot photo shoot, BL sent the pics off to Fano in Nashville to create the outline of Thug's face on Photoshop.
I pretty much did the outline of the main image, his main face, just so I could kind of have a guide of where I was going to place him. I had to go through and cut out the backgrounds of all 23, and then I made variants. So I made a set that were in the black outfit, a set that were in white outfits, and then a set that were in the yellow outfits for the little highlights in his hair that I went through and just hand placed like along the outline that I had made of his face. And I tried to keep them spread out so you couldn't tell like, oh, that's the same picture standing next to each other.
Fano only had 4 days to make the artwork, and creating over 800 copies of Young Thug came with its own challenges.
The worst thing was like, so when I first started on the cover, I had placed like maybe 2 or 300 of them down, and my Photoshop crashed because the file was just way too big.
And they were like, if you don't get this cover done, the album's gonna be pushed back.
And by noon, BL hits me. He's like, yo, this is the day. Like, we got to turn it in. What you got?
It's the little details on and around Thug's face that make the cover pop. Most of these additions were made the day the artwork was revealed to fans.
So that whole day, we just spent figuring out, like, all right, let's put grass on it. Let's, make the tattoos look like they're dug in the ground. Throw the plane at the top. Just little subtle little details so it's not empty.
Put the chain on him, but he made them in white. And then I'm like, make some of them bigger. The last addition was the font. And then I was like, oh, it looked like he was cutting the grass. So I'm like, let me get one more shot of you cutting grass. So I had to go back the next day and be like, hey, Thug, let me bother you one more time, one more picture. And that's actually after he dyed his hair. So 2 days later, he dyes his hair blonde. This was the picture in the same exact parking lot.
He literally took that picture that day, like before we turned the cover in. And so I went online and found like this random picture of like a drone shot of like an old lady cutting her lawn. It was like the perfect angle. So I cut her out and threw Thug on top of it.
That was the last thing. And when I showed Young Thug, he was like, whoa, that's the cover. That's the cover right there. Send it to me. He posted it instantly, and everybody went crazy.
It's vibrant. It's got that slime green color to it, and it's just, I don't know, it's different. And just to see the sales now, it's pretty cool.
Now, BL's working on Young Thug's next album, Punk.
With the Punk album, you definitely can expect like music, ballads. And it's going to be a lot of solo records. This one ain't going to have a lot of features.
And he's planning on recruiting Fano once again for the Punk album art.
Fano, he has an eye, like a marketing eye. Like he knows what the fans want. He knows what the artist may want. So he kind of bridges that gap. And he's gonna be doing the next cover, so we gonna be working on that.
Fano has since provided designs and album covers for rappers like Gunna and Moneybagg Yo. But when it comes to working with Young Thug, Fano still feels like a fan.
He's my favorite rapper, so just being able to work with him is, just a blessing enough for me.
I'm Tia with Genius News, bringing you the meaning and the knowledge behind the music.